back with a new video. So this week, basically the video was requested, and I know I travel a lot, so I've learned a lot over time with what things to consider and how to get the best kind of deals and stuff. So basically I'm going to go straight into the video. I'll explain how I basically travel, and yeah, so it's basically a travel tips and tricks video. So enjoy! Hit the subscribe button to join the family. It's down below and it's big and red. You can't miss it. So yeah, literally I'm going to jump straight into the video now. So when planning a holiday, what you should always consider is if you're going to require a visa. So if you want to like pick a country, just always, before even like, you know, looking into it further, always check if you need a visa or not. And it's recommended if you apply for a visa before, because you may get the visa after you book the tickets, but the thing is you still have the risk of not being not having enough time, or the visa not going through. It's just a lot of hassle and a lot of stress. I've learnt my lesson. So yeah, but yeah, it's so much easier if you literally see if you need a visa for the country, what type of visa, because there are countries that have entry visa, there's countries that have visa on arrival, there's countries that you need an e-visa, which are so easy to get. Literally you can go online and get it the same day or even the next day, and yeah, they're really easy to get. So if you need to get that, then you could do that online. And then you've got the bit long-winded visas. Some of them you can do online now as well, but some of them you still have to go to the embassy and do it like the old style way. I know a lot of them are changing, but still, you know, there'll be other things like if you need any injections, if you have to do a medical test, if you have to do a police check. Depending on what type of passport you have, these can vary. So always look into what visa you need and literally what you need for the visa. If you need anything, or if it's online, if it's simple, always base it around that and how much it will cost. I know for a fact some visas can become very pricey. Some visas are roughly like £100, just over, just under, which isn't too bad, but sometimes there's extra hidden costs which they don't actually mention. So always look out for that, or ask someone that knows and has applied before. Hidden costs are one that you really need to like stay alert from. Literally, I've learnt my lesson. So I'm just passing my wisdom on to you guys. So my trick number 2 is always book off-peak tickets. So off-peak means when it's not like summer holidays, or if it's not Christmas break. Periods like this, the prices go up drastically. Like the prices can double and sometimes even more than double. So what I would suggest doing is, if you can, avoid any like peak times, and you'll just get a lot cheaper deal and you'll enjoy it more because there'll be less people around you. I mean, there's tourists everywhere, but it's not going to be as packed. So if you like it like that, then it's always a win-win. And if you have to go during those peak times, book in advance. Booking in advance is so helpful. 6 months minimum, I would say, if you want to get a really good deal. And if it's last minute, you may have to you'll have to search and search to get a really good deal. The thing is, travel agents can sometimes rip you off. Sometimes they do amazing deals, like amazing. But don't always go to a travel agent, especially if you think the price is a tad bit high. It's not worth it and you'll just waste a lot of money, honestly. It's so much easier if you just do it yourself. And I'll literally show you a few tips that I use to, you know, find good deals. So my favourite websites currently are Skyscanner and Cheap Flights. So if I'm ever booking a flight, I will use literally those websites. Literally, they're so much better than a travel agent. I know travel agents some of them do say they'll like price match and this, that and other, but to be honest, if you found a good deal online, and plus the way you use it, so for example, I'm just gonna go on to skyscanner.com. So once I go onto Skyscanner, look, so the first thing you have, your options you have is flights, hotels and car hire. So if I'm just going for flights, I will literally just buy flights. So say if, for example, I have family in a country, if you want to reduce costs and travel and meet like your family and stuff, why not go visit your family? It's a cheaper way to, literally a cheaper way to travel. So when I was going to America, all I had to do is literally buy my tickets to America. I didn't really have to worry about car hire or, you know, food at home or like a place to stay because my family was there. I mean, extra costs, there were like a few, but it's not as much and it's not as high as you would assume a holiday to be. So for example, if I am going from London Heathrow, literally I try and use the main airports, because as like a hub, like smaller airports might be a little bit pricier than using the main hub of airports. So just go to the main hub of where you want to travel. And if you're more flexible, you might be able to travel even further out. So say from London, you're able to travel to Birmingham instead. It might be a longer drive, but you might get a cheaper flight from there. That does happen quite often. So if you're flexible to that, by all means go further out. But for me personally, I wouldn't go to Birmingham to catch a flight. I'd rather go to London. It's just easier for me to get to. So say for example, I'm going from London Heathrow to, okay, let's go for Dubai. Right, so I would always use any, just because then, you know, sometimes prices can vary. So with this date, I always use the whole month, and literally the good thing about this is if you're not fussed when you go, you might be able to find a cheaper month to go in. So if I use the cheapest month, right, because say for example, I'm not too fussed what month I go in, but you know, I just want to get there. So what I would do is I will search this and it will come up with the cheapest months and the prices. So currently it's saying January has really cheap tickets. Wow, okay. So say for like the first, I believe it's say we travel out on the 1st of January, we can roughly come up to a date where we want to return. So say if I want to go for 1 week or 2 weeks, I can see which dates the prices kind of reduced, so I'm not paying as much. So for example, if I wanted to go out on the 1st, and say I'm going for like 2 weeks, so say I want to come back on the 15th, yeah? So that's £307, guys. Literally, £307. It's not much. And then obviously when you press search, it will come up with all the airlines, whatever types of flights. Right, so immediately from looking at this, Virgin Atlantic is £313. Guys, £313, okay? And it's a direct flight. And then if you were like, say, you cannot go, say I can't leave the country because I'm working until 2, and say another 2, 3, 4 hours for me to get to the airport. Say it's at 6 o'clock, I cannot leave a flight for, you know, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. It has to be the earliest time for me. So I can, you know, the outbound, I can change it to 6 o'clock and see if that makes a difference. So this flight leaves at 9, so say if I'm working until 2, that's perfect for me. I can still finish work, head on out straight to the airport if I wanted to. So if you have like certain commitments or days that you cannot do, you can also always vary the outbound or the return tickets, so you are a bit more flexible and can still see if there's a cheaper flight or if it's still expensive. So this is like the best thing I love about Skyscanner. Like, it's just amazing. This was my first, you know, website I would go to find tickets. So for example, I want to go now. I don't really, you know, I can't really adjust to the cheapest month, but I'm flexible with dates. So let's for example say April. So April is peak time, right? But I might get a cheaper flight depending on the days I go out and days I return. So let's have a look. So okay, again the prices aren't as bad, to be honest. So say I wanted to go during half-term week, so the 10th, and I returned. See, automatically the prices are slightly higher than what they were in January, as you can see. So if I return back, say, I don't know, this date over here. So I mean, it's still pretty cheap, but you know, it's still you can get all sorts of, like, literally you sit down and search, you can amend dates and adjust dates, and you can always find a really good deal. And yeah, this is one thing I love. And then obviously you have cheap flights. Cheap flights do really good flights. Particularly with Expedia, it's great with, so what I've done before is basically I use it for a visa, so I don't want to get my friends and family involved with my visa application. So what I just did is I booked a hotel, and it had no deposit and it had free cancellation. So that means by the time the visa comes back, I'm able to cancel the hotel, and I don't have to worry about any extra fees and stuff like that. But otherwise they do great deals with hotels as well, so it's always a good bet. And obviously if you wanted to stay in a cheaper place, you could also go, instead of staying at hotels, you can stay at Airbnbs, you can stay at hostels, and like travel like places like travel hostels and stuff. They're also great. And you can also stay in a motel, or it's like a version of a hotel but not as fancy. I mean, especially if you're doing road trips, they're amazing because all you need is one bed to sleep in and just relax before you head on out. So I mean, in my situations, I've literally just stayed in like cheap hotels. I don't really give much attention if it was a high glam or if it's fancy, especially if I'm on a road trip. But if I was to stay in one location, then you can also find really good deals with other places. And travel agents, that I believe Southall Travel is a travel agency which does meet, you know, price match, but I still find them really expensive. I've been to them for a few times, and sometimes they'll give me a really expensive deal when I can just get one for like third the price or half the price. So I mean, yeah, so watch out with that. I've also used Thomas Cook and I believe TUI. They do really good deals, so always check them out. And also they do like money discounts if you spend over a certain amount, so you know, you can get really good deals. Always check how many people you're going with and what their ages are. Sometimes there's hotels that won't allow younger kids, so that's always a heads up for when you're looking and such. Oh, so once you decided on where you want to go, always explore what you can do there, because you don't want to end up in the location where there's not much to do. I mean, sometimes there's deals on for like really cheap places, but there's nothing really much to do. So always like see what you are interested in. So say if you're interested in historical buildings, check those out in the area. If you're interested in art, check the location out and see art museums, or if they have any street art, or if it's known for that sort of thing. Always have a look. If you want to do water sports, make sure you're near a beach, because you need to do that. And if you want to do like hiking and mountain climbing, make sure you're near mountains, and so you know what you want to do or what sort of things you're interested in. Sometimes you can get really cheap excursions online. Always check those out and see if you're able to book them beforehand. And sometimes they even literally they don't even ask for a deposit, and it's really easy cancelling. So always check that out. Literally, it's like the best thing. You need to know what you want to do in the area. Expedia is a really good resource to check out what there is around the area. They can also give you an insight on if there's any sort of restaurants or any sort of food places. So they're literally great with all that. So I've always used them. Even if I'm just searching and not booking from them, they're a really good resource. So always use Expedia, especially when you want to find things to do. So yeah. No, literally, this is like the most important tip out of all of them: put your browser on private. Literally, cookies will track exactly what you're looking at and prices will go up. Literally, it's like the worst thing for you to do. Never leave your browser on public, especially if you're booking. Like, you need to, like, even if you're searching things up, you always put it on private. They can literally track everything that you're doing. So put it on private so you can't track anything and you're able to search the best deals. So a way to put it on private, so for example with this Crims one, you can just go into like incognito window, and that will literally make it private. Same with what's it called, browser, internet browser. You can also go private with that easily. You just go into the settings and open up another tab which is private, and it will give you the best deals. Always double check the dates before you book anything. Double, triple, quadruple, get your friends to check it, get your mama to check it, get your brother to check it, get everyone to check the dates before you book anything. I promise you, sometimes a really cheap flight can go double. It can double in price because of one mistake. I did this once, and I believe my dad got me to book his ticket to India. His ticket to India, basically the dates I had selected came out with, I think, £450, and I accidentally changed the dates while browsing and searching because I was really stressed out that day, and I ended up increasing the flight ticket to 500, 600, 650, and that was because I put the return date for a month later. So that was my mistake. It was supposed to be the same date but a month before. So me doing that increased the price by a good 100 quid, £150. On top of that, my dad got to the airport and then gave me a phone call saying I have booked the wrong return date. So to be able to change the return date, I had to pay another I think 200, 150, £200. So the price of the ticket was banging high, right, from what I could have got. So always double, triple, quadruple check your tickets and the dates you are applying. You don't want to get that wrong. You don't want prices to go up, especially when it's not necessary. Literally, don't forget that tip as well. 2 tips that are top of the list, which are browser on private and triple, quadruple, and yeah, just check all your dates before you book anything. Literally, it's so easy to make the mistake, and it costs, like, it can double your price easily. It's happened to me twice now, and I'm trying not to make that mistake again, ever again. So yeah, that's one tip from me to you. And last tip, exchange rates. Always check the exchange rates when you're traveling. If you want to like go to a country which has higher exchange rates and cheaper prices, you can always go to like those countries and spend more, or like spend less but have more there to spend. Like, for example, I know the Philippines is a really cheap country to visit, and I believe Japan's really cheap for food. So stuff like that, keep an eye out on and see what you're interested in, because, you know, exchange rates can make a huge difference in your trip, basically. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was educational. I hope it helps you with your next trip. I mean, it helped me with my next trip, so you know, I'll be announcing it on my Instagram very soon. ThatXCore is my Instagram name if you want to stay up to date with what I do and, you know, my stories and stuff, because I will be announcing it very soon. I'm just waiting on confirmations, and once the confirmation comes through, I can announce to the world where I'm going, and yes, I might bump into some of you guys, who knows. This will be fun. I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment down below your favorite tip and any tips that you might have that will help me on the trip and you guys as well. And yes, until next time, stay fearless and keep going. Bye. Subscribe now. Do it.